Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's pretty safe to say that Kotaku is self-imploding at this point because Kotaku's editor, ALYSSA MERCANTE, and you guys know exactly who this person is. We've done so many videos on it, live streams. You already know what the deal is. ALYSSA MERCANTE apparently just went on CBC Radio. And of course, on her appearance, she's only going to go places where they agree with her. She's never going to go somewhere where they disagree with her. She even openly admits this by trying to accuse you of being in an echo chamber, and yet she'll only go somewhere that's going to make her look good. Now, apparently, ALYSSA MERCANTE on CBC Radio is trying to lie about the Steam curator list, which is Sweet Baby Ink Detected. She openly is trying to lie about it on CBC Radio, and she's getting absolutely roasted for it.
They kind of throw anything at a wall and wait for it to stick. And this is exactly why Steve Bannon took this playbook and utilized it in the Trump White House.
So we have an article here from Bounding Into Comics with a headline that reads, Kotaku editor ALYSSA MERCANTE lies about Sweet Baby Ink backlash during CBC radio appearance and claims that the Steam curator list was made to prevent people from buying and playing these games. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a victim mindset that is running rampant through Kotaku, and we're going to get into it. So let's get into this article, guys, from Bounding Into Comics. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says, in yet further proof that the mainstream video game press needs to fudge the details about the current discourse in order to convince the public of their latest gamers are evil narrative, a recent appearance on Canadian public radio saw Kotaku editor ALYSSA MERCANTE claim that the purpose of the Sweet Baby Ink Detected Steam group was not to simply inform players of the consultation company's involvement in a given game, but rather outright prevent people from buying and playing the game. Now, let's be very clear, ladies and gentlemen, that is not how a Steam curated group works, okay? You have recommendations from Steam people who will allow you to choose whether or not you want to play the game or not. That is still your choice. They cannot make the choice for you. The group can only list the games, say why they don't recommend them, and then you still have the option to buy the game. It's not like the game becomes disabled and you don't have the ability to buy the game. People who want to buy the game will still buy the game regardless of whether or not Sweet Baby is involved. The thing is, this group is for people. They want to know transparency in gaming. They want to know whether or not Sweet Baby Ink is actually involved in the game or not. That's all it's for. That's all it's ever been for. It's not Kabrutus that turned this into a massive big deal. It's not Sweet Baby Ink Detected that turned this into a massive big deal. It is Sweet Baby that turned this into a big deal. They had a Streisand effect that completely destroyed themselves by making this into a big deal. They started Gamergate 2.0 by attacking gamers because of this group existing when all they were trying to do was be transparent, and they don't like transparency. It says MERCANTE offered up this piece of journalistic dishonesty during a guest appearance on the March 19th episode of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation's The Current with Matt Galloway podcast. Now, I am not shocked at all that this is in Canada. Let's be real. A lot of the funding that we're talking about between Sweet Baby, Weird Goes, Baby Goes, Gamma Space, all these companies that are in the DEI consultancy little sphere and circle, they're the ones being funded by the Canadian government. Some of them are being funded by the American government, but most are being funded by Canadian government. So it's not shocking. This is a Canadian podcast that she decided to join because, again, it's going to make her look good. It's going to fit her narrative. It says, amidst a larger conversation in which she provided her read of the ongoing backlash against Sweet Baby Ink, the full transcript of which can thankfully been provided by the CBC themselves, MERCANTE was asked by the show's eponymous host if she could explain why the company's critics took issue with their operations. She says they believe that they have some sort of leverage against all these major gaming companies and that they kind of come in and demand that the character be race swapped or gender swapped, or women characters are made more masculine, or masculine characters are made weaker, she told Galloway. But in reality, Sweet Baby Ink is a development company that's a contractor, so they don't really have any leverage against any of these large video game companies. Now, if that's what you think, then let's listen, or let's think about what Kim Belair, the CEO or the co-founder of Sweet Baby Ink, said herself during a conference in 2019. She said, if you don't get your way, when it comes to hiring diversity consultants. If you don't get your way, she advised everybody at the GDC, she advised everybody that works in video game development, she said to terrify their marketing companies, to terrify them, to have a cup of coffee with their marketing company and absolutely terrify them and force them into getting diversity consultants. So even though they themselves are contractors, they have a lot of connections within the mainstream gaming industry. They have the ability to talk to certain people to get them hired. I guarantee you, if that is how the co-founder thinks, if she thinks that you should terrify people into doing what you want, then I guarantee you she absolutely has people on the inside at certain companies that are going to do just that. They're going to push the hiring of Sweet Baby Inc., and they're going to try to do everything they can to get their way. This is not too shocking, given how absolutely destroyed the gaming industry is right now. It says it should be noted that while Sweet Baby Inc. may not have any concrete leverage against video game companies, its co-founder and CEO Kim Belair has proudly boasted of weaponizing outrage culture in order to elicit ideological change in the industry. That's exactly what I just said. So 100%. Thank you, Bounding Into Comics, for pointing that out. It says, if you're creative working in a AAA, which I did for many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for diversity consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. Belair told attendees of her Now You See Me representation panel at the 2021 GDC conference, because they have to consider, like I said, I say out loud as a joke, but it's actually very, very true. Because if you start to consider the people who are player and audience facing and who have to deal with mitigating harm and with keeping the sentiment around their game and their project positive, they're like a genuine value that you can impress upon them both ethnically and financially. So I'm glad they quoted her. That's exactly what Kim Belair said at the GDC conference, and it goes to show the mindset of people at Sweet Baby Inc. Think about this, guys. If this is how the person at the top thinks, what do you think the employees think? For a team of 15 to 20 people, because they can never get the number right, think about how many, think about exactly what their mindset is. If they hire people, if the CEO hires people, I'm guaranteeing you she's hiring an echo chamber. She's not hiring people that disagree with her. She's not hiring people that don't have a victim mindset. She's hiring people that think exactly like her. So now you have a team of 15 to 20 people who are willing to try to terrorize marketing companies and marketing teams to try to get their way. And they'll use the little moles in the gaming industry that they've developed and have over years. They'll use those moles to try to get their way. It's not shocking in the slightest. To this end, Galloway will later ask Mercante why Sweet Baby, out of many, many such diversity and inclusion-focused consultation companies that offer their services to the industry, to which she would opine, I think it's a perfect storm of a lot of things. It was then, in beginning her explanation of the storm, that the Kotaku editor would commit her noted act of journalistic dishonesty. Someone, as Sweet Baby, noticed that this account was made on Steam, and noticed how it was getting traction, and noticed how that it was intended to prevent people from buying and playing these games, and then requested that it be taken down for organized harassment. She asserted, and that kicked off even more organization from them, the people who made the Steam group. Wow, that is an interesting revisionist history version of the events that took place, because this is what that entire thing was. Chris Kindred, basically at the end of his tirade, saying, anyway, report the fuck out of this group, because he wanted to get it taken down. He started a targeted harassment campaign against this group, and then they responded. It says, while Mercante at least gets credit for mentioning Kindred's call to harassment, as opposed to The Verge's Ash Paris, who left out any mention of his involvement in her coverage for fear it would muddy her narrative, her claims as to the intentions of the Sweet Baby Inc. Detective Steam curated group could not be further from the truth, least of all because that's not even how the feature functions. Simply put, the Steam curator function allows users to cultivate a running record of games according to any metric they like. For example, superhero games, anime games, or games published by Capcom. That's all it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a recommendation or a non-recommendation list. That's it. You cannot prevent someone from actually buying the game. It's impossible. If they're going to buy the game, they will buy the game regardless of whether or not they agree with you. But at the very least, they might be curious to know whether or not Sweet Baby actually worked on the game. It's no different than knowing whether or not a game was published by XYZ publisher. Nobody cares, bro. Like, if you want that information, you're going to go out and seek it. And those who are going to want that information, they'll find it with or without a curator group. So all you're doing is causing a mass Streisand effect. And that's what's ended up happening now. That is what caused Gamergate 2.0 to start. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.